I woke up in a world that felt wrong. A meadow, bathed in sunlight, flowers swaying in a gentle breeze. It should have been peaceful, but the silence was deafening. No birds chirping, no cows mooing, not even the rustle of leaves in the wind. It was a beautiful, empty painting, and the longer I stood there, the more the silence screamed at me. Primera di tomu. I had to find something, anything, that proved I wasn't the only soul left in this place. I walked for what felt like hours, the sun hanging motionless in the sky. Then, I saw it on the horizon. The familiar shape of a village. Hope surged through me. Maybe someone was there, but as I got closer, the same unsettling stillness hung in the air. The doors were all wide open, swinging gently on their hinges. Inside the houses, it was as if people had vanished mid-sentence. A loaf of bread sat on a table, a single bite taken out of it. A chest was left open, its contents spilling onto the floor. It was a ghost town, frozen in a moment of sudden departure. What really sent a chill down my spine were the nether portals. Every village had one, but they were all broken, shattered obsidian frames leaking a strange, dark, purple energy. These weren't normal portal fragments. They pulsed with a sickly light, and tiny, inky particles drifted from them like smoke, dissolving before they touched the ground. It was a corruption, a sickness spreading through the world. Who built these? And why were they all broken? It felt less like an accident and more like a desperate, failed attempt to contain something. Days turned into a blur of walking through these empty, echoing landscapes. I started noticing things. Small details I'd missed at first. Scratched into the walls of the abandoned houses, hidden under crafting tables, were symbols. They weren't letters, not exactly, but they formed patterns. And then I found the redstone, a faint trail of dust, almost invisible against the dirt, leading away from a village and towards a massive, sheer cliff face. It was deliberate. Someone had left a breadcrumb trail. For who? For me. Following the redstone line felt like I was being guided by a ghost. It led me to a small, unassuming cave entrance, almost completely hidden by vines. The redstone trail continued inside, glowing faintly in the growing darkness. The air grew cold, and a new sound finally broke the silence. A low, rhythmic pulsing, like a giant, sleeping heart. The further I went, the more the cave changed. The stone walls gave way to polished deep slate, and strange, blue-veined blocks I'd never seen before began to cover everything. Skulk had pulsed in time with the heartbeat, and I realized the sound was coming from the cave itself. The narrow tunnel opened into a cavern so vast I couldn't see the ceiling. It wasn't a natural cave. This was a laboratory. Huge, silent machines made of unknown metals stood like monoliths, connected by thick bundles of redstone and copper wire. Glass tubes, large enough to hold a person, lined the walls, all of them shattered from the inside. And everywhere, there was Skulk. It climbed the walls, choked the machinery, and carpeted the floor in a living, breathing blanket of blue and black. This was the source of the silence, the heart of the world's sickness. As I navigated the treacherous gantries and walkways of this dead facility, I found more messages, not scratched into walls, but displayed on flickering computer screens. There were log entries, fragmented and corrupted. Project Chimera, unsuccessful. Subjects are unstable. Life, energy, too volatile. It was a story of a grand experiment, a project designed to harness the very essence of life itself. They were trying to create something, or perhaps control something, and they failed. Horribly. In the center of the lab was a massive, circular chamber. The Skulk was thickest here, pulsing with an angry, vibrant light. At the heart of it all was a single, intact terminal, its screen still glowing. It was the final log entry. The text was clear, untouched by the corruption. It spoke of a final, desperate attempt. They couldn't contain the energy, so they tried to give it a physical form, a vessel that could hold it. They called the project's location the ancient city, and the vessel they created the Warden. The log explained that the Warden wasn't a creature of malice, but a blind, organic prison, designed to endlessly patrol the darkness and contained the chaotic life, energy it was born from. The silence of the world above. It was the result of this energy being siphoned, drained from the surface, and funneled into this underground prison. The villagers hadn't fled. Their life force, their very existence, had been consumed to power this place. The final line of the log sent a tremor of pure fear through me. The vessel is failing. The energy is seeking a new host. It's learning. It's hungry. As I read those words, a deep, guttural roar echoed from the abyss below, a sound of pure rage and agony. It was the warden, and it knew I was here. The entire facility began to shake violently. Redstone torches flickered and died, plunging me into near total darkness, lit only by the frantic pulsing of the skulk. I ran. I didn't look back. I scrambled up the tunnels, the warden's shrieks echoing behind me, getting closer and closer. I burst out of the cave mouth, gasping for air, expecting to see the familiar, motionless sun. But the sky was wrong. It was a deep blood red, as if the world itself was bleeding. And hanging in the center of it, where the sun should have been, was a swirling vortex of shadow and purple light. It wasn't a nether portal. It was bigger, more chaotic, and it was growing. As I stared in horror, the portal began to crackle with immense power, and a shape, something vast and terrifying, began to emerge from its depths. The ground trembled, the red sky pulsed, and just as the entity began to take form, my world went completely black.